Nokken and The Grim.
Thoughts on Witchfest 2022?
Well, we kind of just got here to play.
Yeah.
But so far it's been
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
It was literally like we came here and people were like, I don't know, maybe this pandemic could be like a serious thing, or like who knows what the coronavirus is going to do. And then like a week later it was like South by closed, this closed, that closed, boom, boom, boom. And it was just a whirlwind after that, you know?
So it's a Hungarian folk song called Romlott Testem Abakorben. Performed it in order to basically pay respect for the Ukrainian people right now because of what's happening in Russia invading Ukraine. And I have friends in both Ukraine and Russia. It's been kind of rough, and I was like, I last minute decided to perform this folk song, and it comes from a really old tradition of shamanism from Hungary, and not many people know this, but Hungary is actually, we call ourselves Magyar, and we're actually not related to Slavic peoples or Germanic peoples in terms of like old ethnic heritage. And the language itself is actually closer to Finnish and Sami, and actually the closest people to Hungarians in terms of like ethnic history and shared ancestry is Mansi and Khanty, who are Siberian people who still practice shamanism. And it's also part of my own heritage, but it was really violently subjugated into Christianity. And for me, performing this folk song in the style of like an old shaman chant with this instrument, which is a lanjo. It's literally translates to stomping stick, and they're typically like not usually as fancy. Usually just a couple like brass rings. I made this with on my own and carved a red oak tree. The song itself is in an old style of lamentation, where essentially it's like a funeral song, and during funeral songs, it's up to the woman who is like who survives whoever has died, like the closest relative, whether it's mother, daughter, or cousin, who at the funeral sings a lamentation, and lamentation like is a kind of like a wailing sort of sorrow. Typically, it was really hard for ethnomusicologists to document this because you're supposed to give so much emotion through it that you lose all sense of pitch, and you lose, like if you're singing without that, or with pitch and it's like too accurate, then it's like you're frowned upon because your grieving wasn't authentic. So. There's a sense of, in these shamanic cultures, of not wanting to push the spirit that has died away onto the rest between lives. And we usually conceive it as like the spirit goes to rest within the roots of the world tree, Ekigarofa, or the sky high tree, between lives. And the problem that you run into is when someone dies, there's a lot of attachment. So this tradition survived in villages for thousands of years and is still practiced today. This particular song is not actually one you would sing at a funeral. It's actually like kind of an art version of a funeral song, more for like if you were singing that by yourself and feeling that kind of feeling. And the lyrics I chose it because it kind of reminds me of essentially what's happening in Ukraine and what happened to my family as refugees coming from Hungary during the Cold War, where a lot of soldiers and a lot of people that were resisting just were killed and kind of left in the side of the ditch. Is told from the perspective of someone who's died, and they're looking at themselves and they're saying, like, my rotting body lies in the bush, my blood cools in the snow, my blood cools in the snow, and he repeats that over and over again.